Lately, I've been thinking about where RPGs are headed in the future. Not the near future, I'm talking 25, 50, heck, even 100 years out. I'm not so concerned with the time frame as much as the technology, and that means AI. Not true general AI, but rather what the tech industry likes to call AI today, which is basically automated asset creation. This is gonna be huge. I'm sure you've all seen the AI art out there now, but have you considered its potential impact on games? Imagine an RPG like Elder Scrolls X. All that grass, all those trees, the castles, character models, hell, even the lore books you read. Developers already use automated tools to help make some of these, but truly creative AI, at least creative enough to be indistinguishable from the human touch after plenty of training, will take this to the next level. Programmers will only need to input a few variables like, oh, we want fields here, a desert there, mountains here, etc., and even that will go away eventually once AI becomes good enough to build satisfying worlds. Everything you see in Skyrim, for example, could be generated by AI one day, allowing the world size to be near infinite. Disk space will continue to be a factor, but only to a point. Like it or not, I definitely don't. Super fast download speeds will eventually become the norm across the whole planet, and eager RPG nerds will be able to stream all these gigantic assets in real time, virtually lag-free. At that point, disk space becomes irrelevant. Sure, you won't be able to own your games, but I'm trying to focus on the positives here. Let's ignore that part for this video. Anyway, when I say world size, I'm talking multiple worlds. Now imagine an RPG like Skyrim, except instead of one province or even continent to explore, you've got multiple planets or realms, whatever. I'm trying to think big, whether it's sci-fi with ship travel or some kind of Sanderson-esque world hopping. You'll be able to visit tons of planets, all generated by AI with unique biomes, cultures, and races. Picture No Man's Sky, except loaded with interesting stuff to do and see on each planet, instead of relatively barren wastelands with no real goal for each. Or imagine a medieval fantasy with beyond Skyrim level of detail in hundreds of towns and cities across a realistic continent, instead of a paltry handful of major locations. Basically, it'd be Daggerfall's original dream achieved. Or put that medieval land into the aforementioned sci-fi world as just one of many planets. I call that the Ultra Game, a whole galaxy with planets and people from all levels of technical and political development. It sounds crazy, but with AI, all of this will become feasible. The question is, will it be any good? After all, if AI-generated worlds, characters, and quests aren't fun, no one will play them. I'm optimistic. Given how far AI-generated art has already progressed, I'd bet most people agree AI worlds will be great. But what about the writing? Well, there's no reason that couldn't be great too, at least good enough to equal the mediocre writing found in most RPGs. Exploring fanciful worlds and making impactful decisions has always been the appeal of the genre. In fact, I think AI-generated writing will add to that experience far beyond the level a human writing team could accomplish without an unrealistic budget. AI will be able to create immersive dialogue and basic quests for your standard NPCs, to the point where the player could spend a whole afternoon listening to stories from an old widow at an out-of-the-way inn, or working as an apprentice blacksmith, or organizing and recruiting for a tournament. These kind of specialized, low-importance features rarely make it into RPGs due to expensive development costs. Red Dead Redemption goes the furthest I've seen, but I'm picturing a level way beyond that. See, not only will AI generate bigger worlds with bigger scripts, it could run in the game itself. With AI, there'd always be truly new stuff to do, events that AI-backed characters thought up themselves in-game, using the power of AI to start unique and original quests. By joining up with the city guard, for example, you might get to know the captain and convince him to retire. Then, with his free time, his AI might decide he wants a career as a mercenary, or he might happen to fall off his horse and end up bedridden, and those are only two of infinitely many options AI might come up with. Regardless, the player might run into this NPC later and catch up on old times, or end up as enemies, anything really, and that's just one character. It blows my mind to think people playing the same single-player game could experience completely unique quests like this. Of course, it'd require massive computing power, but we're assuming we'll have that, and it may even result in the first true role-playing games. Hear me out. In pen and paper RPGs, which were the original RPGs, players have true freedom, since the Dungeon Master tells the story on the fly, adapting it to players' choices and thinking up new obstacles as they go. Technically, anything is possible as long as it makes sense within the world, and AI in video games would work the same way. At first, RPGs will have just a few of these super smart AI-backed NPCs, but as technology improves, it'll become the standard for every character, bringing video games up to near D&D levels of RPG-ness. Think about what that means for a minute. Skyrim may be huge by 2011 standards, but I was still able to 100% it and do every quest. In the kind of future Ultra game I'm picturing, that'd be physically impossible. Instead, the whole point would be to sculpt your journey according to the character you want to play. You know, role-playing. Not checking boxes until you've done all the things, as the kids say. The best part? This would actually be possible, unlike in modern RPG weak sauce like Skyrim. Maybe you're the classic farm boy drawn to the city where you take on honest work, save up to buy a sword, then go out adventuring. Or you're a new member of a starship fleet. Or maybe you want to start from nothing and play an orphan straight rat, thieving from day one. Hell, how about being able to choose any character from the world to play as? Picture the game opening with a flyover of the region developers recommend starting in. You could design your own character and start as a vagrant or prisoner or whatever, or you could zoom in on an interesting looking town, get info on every NPC, and pick one to play. Or if you so desire, you could zoom out and start on the other side of the planet, or on another planet entirely in the case of the Ultra game. Heck, maybe you could even swap between any character at any time, like you're some sort of ghost or god. And oh, now I'm thinking about SimCity, and what if you could control the people in that, and combining RPGs with god games at a galaxy level scale, and okay, I'm getting off topic, but you can use your own imagination. I've so far ignored the obvious question though. What role would humans possibly play in this almost dystopian sounding future of RPGs? Well, the writing. Writers will be the most valuable asset for any studio, and I can picture companies like Bethesda or whoever inevitably replaces them stocked with writers, AI engineers, and that's about it, for the dev side anyway. Now, you might be thinking, didn't I say earlier that AI writing would be just fine? I did, and that's true, but what AI excels at in terms of video game writing is scale, not quality. Writing for generic quests and characters will be passable, if not great, once AI progresses enough. Worlds will look beautiful and varied due to the AI's power, but unless we're headed for a full-on dystopia where machines rule over mankind, players will still crave a human touch, whether from curated storylines, side quests, or even characters, as long as they can tell the difference anyway. Let's look at a game like Cyberpunk, except if it were, actually good. Since AI would handle most or all of the assets, writing teams could work for years on extensive dialogue trees for NPCs. Imagine you're between story missions, walking late at night through a seedy city. You might pop into a nightclub and find all kinds of shady characters, some of whom want nothing to do with you, others potential allies, and all with unique dialogue and personalities available to talk for lengthy periods. Seemingly unimportant NPCs could try to pull you into new scenarios based on what you've done recently and how it interacts with their own realistic in-game life. The best of these quests would still be handcrafted, possibly forever. Mass Effect Singularity features thousands of man-made quests will be a selling point, though I suspect AI ultimately gets so good that it'll end up writing everything. Who knows, it may never be Shakespeare or even Herman Melville, but like I said, games have never achieved that level of writing, and they're the most lucrative form of entertainment on the planet already in 2023. RPG fans, and most fans of games in general, foremost want to explore immersive worlds and engage with the gameplay. Despite the insistence of many, story is secondary, otherwise we'd read classic novels all day. Skyrim's enduring popularity and insane sales numbers provide strong evidence for this. Well, I'm not building to any big conclusion, the future's just fun to think about. Let me know in the comments how you think the genre might evolve, and if you like this one, subscribe and help it reach more RPG fans by hitting that thumbs up button. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.